'Cause I get 1,000 hugs from 10,000 lightning bugs as they try to teach me how to dance. A foxtrot above my head, a sock hop beneath my bed, a disco ball is just hanging by a thread. I'd like to make myself believe that the planet Earth turns slowly. It's hard to say that I'd rather stay awake when I'm asleep, 'cause everything is never as it seems. 'Cause everything is never as it seems.
And now, live from beautiful Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, you're watching My Fellow Americans with your host, Spike Cohen.
Yes! Yes! It's me! Yes, thank you! Keep clapping! Clap against the dark psychic force of collectivized hatred. How would we know you were against the dark psychic force of collectivized hatred if you didn't keep clapping? Welcome to a special edition of My Fellow Americans. I am literally Spike Cohen. And with me tonight on this special night, Demageddon 2, Intersectional Boogaloo, Nuit, Deux, is the ever-engaging, ever-beautiful Mr. Matt Wright. Matt, thank you for joining us tonight.
Hey, thanks for having me on, Spike.
I'm really happy. I'm super psyched. And everything seems to be working. I have already preemptively put the link to go on YouTube if Facebook shuts us down, because there are a bunch of...
in the comments.
That's fine. The more places it is, the better. Because YouTube is being... Or Facebook is being some bitches. And... they've been snitching us out, and we need to have our backup. So honestly, guys, it's a better experience over at YouTube. It's higher quality. The frame rate's the same, but it's it's in full 1080p.
It is.
If this resolution on Facebook isn't enough for you, if you need an even deeper resolution of Spike and Matt, come join us over on YouTube. And they're not bitches.
Well, let's not go.
Well, I mean, they haven't been bitches to us yet.
That's better. That's much better.
But we shall see how that goes long term. But yeah, thank you for joining us. And I am just keeping an eye on the... So Matt, how are you doing? How's your last 24 hours been?
Yeah, I feel like I just finished talking to you.
You basically did, yeah. Basically did.
Yeah, I got about 4 hours of sleep last night, maybe less, and
nice.
Went to work and then came back and got ready for this. I was talking with a friend of mine. Before this, and I was real loopy, and she was getting quite the kick out of it.
Was this similar to our episode of The Mighty Waters of Freedom a week ago?
No, I wasn't falling asleep, but I was just as loopy.
Nice.
I was completely out of it. She was like, "What is wrong with you? You're a goofball."
Well, that's kind of a separate issue, though, from being loopy. That's like a personality thing.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, I don't know if anyone's noticed. I've got my Spike's in the way. I've got my Marianne sticker because she may not be in this debate on our plane, on the physical plane, but she is. Oh man, you're really just not going to be able to see that. Yeah, there you go. She's with us in the astral plane. Bulavanaka.
Oh yeah. Bulavanaka.
Bulavanaka. Thank you for Kroger for my physical thirst being quenched, and thank you to Marianne for my astral thirst. Believe it or
And
not.
thank you to me for pouring this cup.
To yourself, yeah, for pouring this cup.
Myself.
You did a great job. You did it yourself. Oh man, it's really just not gonna. There we go. So, big night last night for one Marianne Williamson. I don't know if you heard.
What happened with Marianne Williamson?
So it turns out that she became the most Googled candidate out of all the other candidates last night. In every state except for Montana, where Steve Bullock was the most Googled by people who were shocked to discover that their governor was Steve Bullock. Who? Our Montana? Honey! Fire up the generator. I mean, Montana could be a very advanced place. I don't know. It seems like they'd have to fire up a generator.
Yeah, they had a really exciting Senate race. That one came down to the wire. The Republican was.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Matt. Oh, I forget Matt's last name.
Good old Matt.
Yep. He was a good dude. I met him at a luncheon, and he was a nice guy. But he ended up. I think they called it for him, and then he ended up losing in the end.
It was like really close. That was one of the ones we thought was going to go to him before we signed off that night, and it turned out he lost by like a handful of votes.
Right.
So Jacob LaBelle says tonight is all about Tulsi.
Right.
Sure. I mean, yeah. She's going to be the only one on there talking about the military, shutting down the military or stopping the wars, but we'll see how that goes.
Really, the entire focal point that CNN is going to have tonight is going to be on Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. Like, they want that spark to hit again because that will give Kamala Harris the boost back up. One of our super fans was sending me numerous. He was doing all of our research today, which thank you for that. While I was at work. So Biden's at 33%. This is according to Emerson polling, here it is, The Economist. As of today, as of this morning, Joe Biden 26%, Sanders 13%, Warren 20%, Harris 11%, Buttigieg 6%, O'Rourke 2%, Yang 1%, Booker 3%, Castro 2%, Klobuchar 0%, Gabbard 2%, Delaney 1%, Steyer 0%, and Williamson isn't even on the list.
Which is, after last night.
Now, they did follow it up, and they said they had a favorability of politicians portion of this.
Yeah.
And as far as Marianne Williamson went, of all of the people that they had polled, 54% had no opinion because they didn't have enough information.
Right.
That's more than, it was 54%. So more than half the people didn't have an opinion. So as opposed to others who were looked at very unfavorably, everybody with her was like, I don't know.
Don't know enough about her, yeah. Right. Which is why they were frenzied, Googling her at a frenzied pace after the debate. So
what's odd is more men than women have a very favorable opinion of her.
There's something appealing about her. Now, I'm a male.
There really is.
I'm a male, and I'm not, she's like in her 60s. Like, it's not, a sexual thing for me, but there's something very appealing about her. But I don't know if that's because maybe if I was a woman, I wouldn't like her. I know my wife, when she met her, she liked her and was very impressed. Didn't really help because she's not an American citizen, so she can't vote or anything. But
now,
she has to be higher than Yang at this point. If Yang's at 1, she has to be somewhere mid to high single digits, I would think.
So in order to get into the next debate, she has to be polling at 2.
That's going to happen.
I think it will.
That's going to happen.
If you were to go to 2015, if we time traveled back, 2015, at this point in the election, Jeb Bush, 22%, Scott Walker, 17%, Marco Rubio, 14%, Ben Carson, 11%. If you go all the way down to the lower levels, that's where you can find Donald Trump, Lindsey Graham, John Kasich, Bobby Jindal, and Rick Santorum.
What was Trump at?
1.
We're so early in this race. The fact that we're already doing debates in this cycle is like, this is going to be a long ass cycle.
They're doing a debate a month until the first primary.
Oof.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of Demageddons.
Which I'm fine with. I'm enjoying them.
Yeah, no, I'm having a great time doing it, but there's going to be a lot of Demageddons. We're going to run out of bad sequel names to name it. Like Demageddon 5.
You underestimate me, sir. I have many.
Jaws.
Demageddon 3, First Blood.
Part 2.
Part 2. Yeah, I mean, look, she's got to be at 2% already. She's got to be at 2% already. By the way, I got this sweet ass button. Let me tell you how I got this button. Went to her event and they said, so I guess part of it was they needed to have a certain number of individual donors to qualify for something. So I donated a single US dollar. And
no Canadian, huh?
No, turns out that's totally illegal. So I donated a single US dollar to my single effort that I could make to help end up with the reality that we could all exist in, wherein Marianne Williamson, Kim Ruff, who is my guest next week, and Donald Trump are on the same stage together. And I got the sweet ass button for $1. I call that a value. You seem very pensive.
Oh, I was reading these stats that Chris Reynolds sent me.
Oh, okay. Speaking of someone who isn't Chris Reynolds, we have we have some audio messages that unfortunately we're not going to be able to get to.
Yeah,
because
they're definitely not Chris Reynolds, and don't play the unknown caller one.
Yeah, well, I'm not.
I listened to it.
Okay, I haven't even listened to them. We might, depending on how we feel at the end of this, we might play them. But for now, anyway.
When we do our Anchor FM bit.
Oh yeah, hey guys, are you looking to make a podcast? Well, I hope so, because if you are, then Anchor FM is the way to do it.
That's right. Anchor is definitely the way to do it. And for many great reasons, like it gives you everything you need in one place for free, which you can use right from your phone and or computer.
That's amazing. Do they have some kind of tools or what have you that would allow you to edit your podcast and do things to it so it sounds great?
They do. And they'll also distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard everywhere. That includes Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Radio Public, and many more.
That's amazing. I heard, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, which I hope I'm not, that you can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership.
That is absolutely true.
Great day in the morning.
Great day in the morning. So you should go and, if you're thinking about making a podcast, which you should, go and download the Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started today.
Oh, I sure the hell am. I can tell you that right now. I might stop this show and just go do that.
Well, favorite for favorite.
Is that what we're going to call it?
Podcast. That's what you do on there. Is you have to favorite them. You don't actually.
Oh, I like my term sub for sub.
Yeah, no, because
which I learned on Backpage.
Is Backpage still a thing?
I don't know. Maybe it was Silk Road. It might have been Silk Road. It was probably Silk Road. R.I.P. Ross Ulbricht. He's not actually dead, but
he ain't getting out of prison anytime soon.
They railroaded him. That is a travesty. Maybe you and Aaron Nakamoto can talk about that tomorrow. Because they did a benefit for him at Anarcho Vegas. Steve Adams says, I came here for the chitlins of the sea. Well, I hate to disappoint you, friend.
Shane Sweeney is not here.
Shane Sweeney's not here. And he won't be cooking any Vietnamese poop fish on this program. Goodness. Ridiculous. Tilapia is better than salmon.
Oh, you know.
I don't want to say he's not a real libertarian, but I just want to question. It's a question of values. I want to say he's not a real libertarian.
Now, I saw where you posted that part of the video, and I was going through the comments, and Liberty Claus himself, Mr. Tom Arnold. That salmon avocado bagel that he posted a picture of, that wasn't like smoked salmon. That was like he grilled up some salmon and did that. God, that looked so
that
good.
was, and you know what? The non-anti-Semitic Shane Sweeney said and did in response to that, how bad that looked. That was his response to seeing that gastronomic? That's
gastronomical.
That gastronomical wonder of the natural world. He said, oh, something tilapia. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. Sarah Brandon. Hey, Sarah. Thanks for joining us. And again, guys, I can almost guarantee you that you're going to end up having to go over to YouTube. So you may just want to go ahead and do it already.
YouTube.com/muddiedwatersmedia.
Yeah. So the direct link to do the live is youtube.com/c/muddiedwatersmedia/live. But if you just go to youtube.com/muddiedwatersmedia, it'll be the first thing that pops up too. Kiss My Bass says time for Yang Gang to secure these bags. This is his last hurrah, guys. Like if he doesn't,
he's already qualified for the next.
Yeah. Oh, has he?
Yeah, as long as he gets 2%, he's qualified for the next one.
Yeah, but I mean, I hope he does. All right, hold on. Let me go over to the debate, and we can now turn on the.
Former Secretary of Housing and Urban Development.
I'll turn it down a little bit for now. So this is happening. I wonder if they're bringing the perfecting choir back.
From Hawaii.
Oh, the perfecting church choir.
The perfecting church choir. They were. Here we go. That's a stately outfit. She is easy on the eyes, isn't she?
Who's that?
Tulsi.
Oh, yeah, Tulsi's easy on the eyes. You can just call me Bass. Is it Bass or Bass? I don't know how you're going to answer that question.
From Washington State.
I assume it's Bass because it's a play on. Just call me Bass. I think calling you Bass will work better than me trying to each time go, kiss. Yeah, it's easier.
From New York City, Mayor Bill de
It might be Sarah. It might be a Yang Bang tonight if he doesn't turn it up. I'm concerned about his ability to make it to the next round.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Democratic
Because they do not want to hear from him or from Marianne.
His issue is he is just so boring to listen to. He is not dynamic.
Yeah. Well, and
he's like Al Gore with less enthusiasm.
The other problem is that his whole thing is built on this UBI, and he has a great way of explaining it, but it's not sound clip ready. So he just sounds like all he has to say is, "I'm going to give you $1,000." Oh, what's this say?
Bridgewater, who was raised in Flint, Michigan.
Oh, so they're doing the.
They're doing the same whole thing, yeah. Same guy.
Doing it all over again.
Same guy and everything. I kind of liked the choir, though. I was a fan of the choir. I don't know if this singer is going to be any good.
Oh, they're doing a singer and not the...
Yeah, they said a Tony Award singer who's from Flint.
I like how we don't have the sound. Do we have the sound playing on the...
Here, let me turn it
I was like, I appreciate the dead silence.
Actual silence.
What so proudly we hailed at the twilight's
last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh,
I'm watching, like, I can't hear anything.
does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
I liked the choir better. I like the choir. You can't hear her?
No, I can't hear that at all.
Oh, good. Hold on. Crap. Oh, pretty.
Yeah, I thought you were just keeping the sound on.
What about now? Can you hear it now?
Yes.
Do you hear the
The debate will begin right after this short break.
All right, so post-gaming a little bit. Perfecting choir, much better. I'm sorry you didn't get to hear that, Matt, but actually I'm not because it wasn't that great.
Yeah, I was going to say, a lot of people were saying that very pitchy.
Yes. Pitchy and uninspiring. I was not inspired. I was inspired by they hit a couple of those notes, and now I guess it's hard to compete against an entire choir, but still, like Jennifer Hudson, she was not.
Right. She was definitely not.
She was in many ways not Jennifer Hudson. Let's go to the comments here.
Yeah, everybody's just saying either for us to stand on our feet. And that she was pitchy. Chris Reynolds is predicting the end of Biden beginning tonight.
I mean, maybe.
Possibly.
She wasn't even Jennifer Aniston. That's also factually correct. Shrill at times. Yeah, no, she wasn't impressed. I don't want to give her a hard time, but this is your moment. And you go up there and land of the free. Like, I don't know. What do I know? Maybe she was nervous. Next time, bring back Perfecting Church Choir.
Right.
They were good. Just do choirs in general. I like the whole. First of all, I like the optics of it being treated like a religious thing, which is appropriate.
So if you think about it, when they were deciding who was going to go into these debates, they were treating it like it was the NBA draft or the NBA lottery,
right?
And on who was going to go where, and they turned it into this big show with picking names out of hats and which nights they were going to go on, and then they kind of amped up on the military with the presenting of the colors, and then they brought in the church choir. Like, they're kind of pandering to the right in all three of those.
They're pandering to
Middle America.
Yeah. First of all, so when you get out of the fringes of the internet and cable news, the daylight between the average Republican voter and the average Democrat voter is essentially non-existent. It's often based on a combination of like family partisanship, how they've always voted, who has the momentum in their state, people close to them who influence them on who to vote for. Like, But in terms of policy or like how they live their lives on a daily basis, they're the same people. They're neighbors. So, I mean, people like that stuff. They like the colors and the whole thing. People like it.
Seconds if a moderator asks for a clarification. The timing lights will remind you of these limits. Please respect them and please refrain from interrupting other candidates during their allotted time. A candidate infringing on another candidate's time will have his or her time reduced.
That did not happen last night, by the way. So I don't know why they're even telling people that anymore.
Candidates need to be able to properly hear the questions and each other.
Let's start with opening statements. You will each receive 1 minute. Mayor Bill de Blasio, please begin.
God.
To the working people of America, tonight I bring you a message of hope. We can make change in this country. I know from
This man said hope and change in the first 5 seconds.
The mayor of the nation's largest city, I set us on a path of bold change. They said it couldn't be done, but we gave every child for free. We got rid of stop and frisk and we lowered crime. We raised the minimum wage to $15 an hour. Yes, it can be done. Now, tonight, we have to get to the heart and soul of who we are as Democrats. There are good people on this stage, but there are real differences. Joe Biden told wealthy donors
this is the
would change if he were president. Kamala Harris said she's not trying to restructure society. Well, I am. For 40 years, working people have taken it on the chin in this country. For 40 years, the rich have gotten richer and they paid less and less in taxes. It cannot go on this way. When I'm president, we will even up the score and we will tax the hell out of the wealthy to make this a fairer country and to make sure it's a country that puts working people first.
Thank you, Mayor de Blasio. Senator Michael Bennet.
Thank you. Last week, I saw one of those Trump signs that says, America, love it or leave it. And it was on the outside of a church. I love America.
Wait,
and
that's your opening.
Before
I went to a restaurant.
I ran a larger
and the dumplings were really bad.
The kids live in poverty. Those kids have exactly the same hopes that I had.
Hold on. What's that?
Their parents have exactly
He was the one in the first debate that seemed like he was just slowly getting drunker.
It just seemed like he did not want to be there. So the last guy, Bill de Blasio, who has like a 20% approval rating in New York City, he's the guy responsible for Eric Garner's death, by the way, in case anyone wasn't keeping score of that. He attacked Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, however you say that, Kamala Harris, right off the bat. Probably a good strategy for him.
It actually is.
It's a good strategy because everyone hates him.
I couldn't hear what the guy was yelling at him.
Something about bad about Bill de Blasio. It's probably a New Yorker. New Yorkers hate him.
Yeah.
Like, he is not liked in New York. He's a not liked mayor across the board.
Right.
So
when you're unliked in New York, you're like, yeah, run for president.
Yeah. Like, no one is telling him to run for president.
Good evening. I'm Jay Inslee. I am running for president because the people in this room and the Democrats watching tonight are the last best hope for humanity on this planet.
That includes
if we make defeating the climate crisis
I am the last best
of the United
hope.
States, we will have a fighting chance to save ourselves and our children's future.
This man just told a very important truth. I am humanity's last best hope.
Quickly bringing 100% clean energy.
As is Matt.
Creating 8 million good
and all of you.
Union jobs.
All of you. Mostly me, though.
Bold, ambitious plan for clean energy for a big, bold, ambitious nation. Middle ground approaches are not enough. We must confront the fossil fuel industry. I've been working on this for 25 years. And now we know this, we are at a tipping point, and whether we shrink from this challenge or rise to it is the vital question of our time. We Democrats believe we can still do big things in this nation. We can defeat the climate crisis. Let's get to work.
Senator Kirsten Gillibrand.
I have
Grandmother
literally
taught me that nothing-
zero interest in this woman. Chris Reynolds says, if you have to tell us your name at this point, you won't win. That's probably, I would say that's probably accurate, Chris. Chris Reynolds, attorney at law, personal injury attorney. I look at y'all's faces in the mirror. I worry. Oh, about us being humanity's last best hope, Maria?
Right.
That's... I'm post-worry. I'm here for memes. Steve Adams, so much energy. De Blasio had some energy, and I'm going to tax everyone and attack everyone on this stage, too. Bass asked, it's so much easier just calling him Bass. Was this guy in the first debates?
Jay Inslee was in night 1 of the first debates.
Oh, okay. Yeah, see, and we didn't cover that.
Yeah,
Tube Fire says, eek, no, not going to listen to a billionaire commie talking about what he takes on his chin. Good luck, gentlemen. That's fair enough. Oh, here we go.
After 9/11, I've served as a soldier for over 16 years, deployed twice to the Middle East, and serve in Congress now for almost 7 years. I know what patriotism is, and I've known many great patriots throughout my life. And let me tell you this, Donald Trump is not behaving like a patriot. As president, I will bring this spirit of real patriotism to the White House, serving the interests of all Americans, not just the rich and powerful. I'll fight for our rights and freedoms of all Americans, upholding these principles in our Constitution upon which our country was founded. Fighting for justice and equality for all. Fighting for every single American, regardless of race or religion, as we strive towards that more perfect union. And as president, I'll bring this unifying spirit of love for country and the soldiers' values of service above self to the White House, truly leading a government of, by, and for the people.
Secretary Julian Castro.
Thank you, Dana, and good evening.
Really weird opening statement.
That was
just a few days ago, we were reminded and inspired.
Yeah, no one cares. That was not a incredibly inspiring opening statement. Like,
no, that was drab.
Get out of the wars. Bring our troops home. That was all just like platitudes.
Yeah, that was not that is not what you want. That is not what you want from somebody that you're rooting for.
That was like literally all she came off as like a poor man's Marianne Williamson.
She came off like she's like running for junior class president in high school.
And I know what that's like too. I grew up
that's
actually
in the middle of your gymnasium talking to your class. If you vote for me for junior class president, I will be sure to
make your hopes and dreams come true.
Let's do that together.
Oh, good. The sound's back.
Is the sound doing that thing again?
You've heard that someone is running for president who wants to give every American $1,000 a month. I know this may sound like a gimmick, but this is a deeply American idea from Thomas Paine to Martin Luther King to today. Let me tell you why we need to do it and how we pay for it. Why do we need to do it? We already automated away millions of manufacturing jobs, and chances are your job could be next. If you don't believe me, just ask an auto worker here in Detroit. How do we pay for it? Raise your hand in the crowd if you've seen stores closing where you live. It is not just you. Amazon is closing 30% of America's stores and malls and paying zero in taxes while doing it. We need to do the opposite of much of what we're doing right now, and the opposite of Donald Trump is an Asian man who likes math. So let me share the math. $1,000 a month for every adult would be $461 million every month right here in Detroit alone. The automation of our jobs is a central challenge facing us today. It is why Donald Trump is our president, and any politician not addressing it is failing the American people.
Senator Cory Booker.
That was good.
Thank you, Dana.
That was good. That was good.
Last week, the President of the United States attacked an American city
calling it a disgusting, rat-infested, rodent mess. We need a nation that understands that these tired, old language,
Stand by, Senator.
I will stand by.
Please stand by.
Fight what? Did you catch that?
I couldn't understand. If
Please
anybody
continue,
knows what they were
Senator.
saying,
Thank you very much.
Mention it.
Donald Trump, from Charleston to Baltimore to even the border, is using the tired old language of demagogues, of fearmongers, of racists to try to divide our country against itself. We know who Donald Trump is, but in this election, the question is, who are we as a people? We have serious problems in America. We have deep wounds and seriously, deeply rooted challenges. We desperately need to heal as a nation and move forward.
He's still shook
know
from
in
the
this country
that heckling.
That our fates are united, that we have a common destiny. The call of this election is the call to unite in common cause and common purpose. That's how we will beat Donald Trump. That's how I will beat Donald Trump. And as your president, that's how I will govern and move us forward together.
Senator Kamala Harris.
This is an inflection moment in the history of our country. I think we all know that. This is a moment in time that is requiring us each as individuals and collectively to look in a mirror and ask a question.
Oh
That
yeah.
question
Can
being,
you imagine a reality where her mic sucks all night?
And I think most of us know that part of the answer
This
to
is
that
the Williamson. This is the
is
orb.
we are better than this.
The orb is.
So this then becomes a moment that we must fight for the best of who we are. And fight, of course, we will. And this is not a new fight for us as Americans. We have always been prepared to fight for our ideals. We have always been a nation that fights for the best of who we are. And I'll tell you, I come from fighters. My parents met when they were active in the civil rights movement. My sister Maya and I joke, we grew up surrounded by a bunch of adults who spent full time marching and shouting about this thing called justice.
And then you locked up
I am
everyone
prepared to
when you
march
got in
with you,
office.
to fight with you for the best of who we are and to successfully prosecute the case of 4 more years of Donald Trump and against him.
Vice President Joe Biden.
Tonight, I think Democrats are expecting some engagement here, and I expect we'll get it. I'm running for president to restore the soul of this country. You know, we have a president, as everybody's acknowledged here, every day is ripping at the social fabric of this country. But no one man has the capacity to rip that apart. It's too strong. We're too good. Just look at this stage, made up of very diverse people from diverse backgrounds. Went on to be
And then there's
mayors,
me.
senators, governors, congresswomen, members of the cabinet, and yes, even a vice president. Mr. President, this is America. And we are strong and great because of this diversity, Mr. President. Not in spite of it, Mr. President. So, Mr. President,
Say
let's
Mr.
get
President
something
again.
straight. We love it. We are not leaving it. We are here to stay, and we're certainly not going to leave it to you.
Thank you, Vice President Biden. I want to start the debate with
Maria Edinbow says, "Run into the crowd and kiss a minor, please."
Senator Harris. This week, you
Fire
released
Pantello.
a new health care plan, which would preserve private insurance
Fire Pantello.
to phase in.
Who's
Vice
that?
President Biden's campaign calls your plan, quote, a have it every which way approach, and says it's just part of a confusing pattern of equivocating about your health care stance. What do you say to that?
Well, they're probably confused because they've not read it. But the reality is that I have been spending time in this campaign listening to American families, listening to experts, listening to
Oh, her
healthcare
mic's going to
providers.
suck all night.
And
I love
what
it.
I came away with is a very clear understanding that I needed to create a plan that was responsive to the needs of the American people, responsive to their needs, understanding that insurance companies have been jacking up the prices for far too long, that American families have to be held down by
Is this her mic is failing, or is she finally like her filters aren't working and we can hear that she's a robot?
said 4 years is just not enough to transition into this new plan.
This, by the way, is the woman who has locked up more black people than anyone who hasn't been president. So only Barack Obama and Bill Clinton have locked up more black men, black people, men, mostly men, than this woman who's talking about whatever the hell she's talking about. So when she tries to play the role of the I'm civil rights, whatever, she is one of the biggest opponents to human freedom that exists, especially if you're a minority.
So they were yelling Fire Pantaleo or something, Pantaleo.
Okay.
And he's the cop who choked out Eric Garner.
Why are they telling this to Cory Booker?
I think they started on de Blasio, but they couldn't get it started, and then so they went with Cory Booker.
Because Cory Booker's not even, he's New Jersey. It's the wrong state, guys. That was it's a tactical error. You'd have to go after de Blasio.
Your response, Senator Harris?
Absolutely. Unfortunately, Vice President Biden, you're just simply inaccurate in what you're describing. The reality is that our plan will bring health care to all Americans under a Medicare for All system. Our plan will allow people to start signing up on the first day. Babies will be born into our plan, and right now 4 million babies almost are born every day in America, or every year in America.
Yeah, that's a lot of babies.
We will ensure that everyone
I don't think that's
has
true.
access to health care. Your plan, by contrast, leaves out almost 10 million Americans. So I think that you should really think about what you're saying, but be reflective and understand that the people of America want access to health care and do not want cost to be their barrier to getting it.
Senator Harris, thank you. Vice President Biden, your response?
It's just going to be this all night.
Cost $3 trillion when it is in fact
It's going to be like Marianne treatment
number
for
one.
everybody.
10 years from now.
This is
after 2 terms
ridiculous.
of the
I don't
Senate
give a
being
crap
president,
about either of these
after her
people.
term. Secondly,
I'm
it
here
will require middle-class
I'm here for Yang Gang. I'm here to hopefully watch Tulsi not act like that mess. And
what happens in the meantime.
I'm here to watch the avatar of Marianne Williamson come down and release loving rays into the protective eggs of each of these people on stage.
Did you say avatar?
Healthcare in America. Over the next 10 years, it's probably going to be $6 trillion. We must act. My plan is about immediately
Avatar.
allowing
You said
people to sign up
avatar.
and get into coverage. Right now in America, we have seniors who every
The
day
mantras and the ramen and the
The
avatar.
mantras of the ramen noodles
and they are getting
with the avatar.
the kind of coverage
Okay.
they need. All
Yeah.
people should
Avatar.
have access to healthcare and
We all say things differently, okay?
No, that we say them correctly.
No, language is a construct. Oh, here. Yeah, this guy. Okay, please
isn't working for
listen
them.
to me.
There's tens of millions of Americans who don't even have health insurance. Tens of millions more who have health insurance that can barely make work because of the copays, the deductibles, the premiums, the out-of-pocket expenses. There's this mythology that somehow all these folks are in love with their insurance in America. What I hear from union members and from hardworking middle-class people is they wish they had better insurance. And they're angry at private insurance companies that skim all the profits off the top and make it impossible for everyday people to get coverage like mental health care,
Thank you,
dental
Mr. Mayor.
care, the things that would be full coverage
Thank
for
you,
all
Mr.
Americans.
Mayor. Vice President Biden, you just heard Mayor de Blasio. He said in the past that Democrats...
So that's why this was a good strategy. The way it works, the way this is gamed, is that the more you attack people individually that are on the stage, the more time they give you. And the more likely they are to attack you because you just attacked them. So he's desperately trying to work his way into a three-way argument between Harris and Biden.
Right, that's actually really smart because everybody else, the people who are going to try to play it like calm, they're not going to get any speaking time.
No, at all, because that's not like this entire debate is about, for CNN, ultimately their whole thing is they want maximum drama. They want people to call people and go, oh my gosh, you got to tune into CNN. The Kamala Harris is really ripping Joe Biden, the new one. And, or whatever, some amazing thing's going to happen.
How do you feel about Senator Harris continuing to call her health proposal Medicare for All when it includes a far more significant role for private insurance than the bill you co-sponsored?
I think for the viewers in the audience right now, they're at risk of losing the forest through the trees. Because the truth is, healthcare in America should be a right. When I was a young mother and had Theo as an infant, he had an allergic reaction
is from New York. Her dad is a lawyer, which isn't surprising, but he was the lawyer for the pedophile sex cult NXIVM back in when they were first getting started, and there are multiple rumors that you can definitely search of that he actually sent family members to go be taught under NXIVM when they were underage. So it's theoretical that you could surmise that her dad helped build a pedophile sex cult. So enjoy that every time you look at this one.
When you look at, it's sort of like what John Hickenlooper said, look at me and think of you're about to die.
Right.
And this is, look at Kirsten Gillibrand, I don't know how to say her name. Gillibrand, and just think of pedophilia.
Mm-hmm.
Just think of pedophilia. And when you see this one on the right, think about children wondering where their dad is in prison because of Kamala Harris.
Our Medicare for All plan has actually, by the architect of the Obama Affordable Care Act, been described as one of the most effective ways to bring health care to all. Kathleen Sebelius has endorsed our plan as being something that will get us to where we need to go. In terms of the point that Senator Gillibrand is raising, I couldn't agree more. Senator Biden, your plan will keep and allow insurance companies to remain with status quo, doing business as usual. And that's going to be about jacking up copays, jacking up deductibles. It will still be the situation that people going to an emergency room have to come out $5,000.
My plan makes the limit of copay to be $1,000 because we further support the ability to buy into the Obamacare plan. Secondly, the idea that this is somehow a bad idea. No one has to keep their private insurance. But if they would like their insurance, they should be able to keep it. Nothing is demanded in my plan that there be private insurance. It says if the 160 million people who have it say they like their employer insurance, they should have a right to have it.
So this is a key, this is where you're going to see arguments. The only argument between the candidates right now on healthcare is force everyone into socialized healthcare or let them choose if they want to join socialized healthcare, which will increasingly become a no-brainer as non-socialized healthcare plans get taxed to subsidize socialized healthcare. It's a false debate because they both result in everyone being on socialized healthcare.
Not only that, but he just did the 2019 equivalent of if you like your doctor, you can keep him.
And 25, your premium's going to go down $2,500 a year. It's which Obama said during the whole Obamacare plan. If anyone who has health insurance, no, that's not what happened. So let's hear from this schmuck who won't fire Patelio.
Have access to
Pantelio.
healthcare. It's a human right. And how we get there, it has to be to end this broken system because we are on our way in just a handful of years of literally spending 20% of our economy, one out of every...
Oh, by the way, do you know who is the most moderate out of all the Democrats when it comes to healthcare in her wording about how she wants to implement her system?
Marianne.
And so you want to know what I'm going to do? I'm going to work
The Orb Mother.
The Orb Mother, because she knows it's not about healthcare. It's about healing.
Saying one is unrealistic and the other doesn't care enough.
Healthcare costs will be $0 when we all decalcify our pineal gland, however you say that.
What's your response? The reality is right now we don't have a healthcare system. We have a sick care system, and there are far too many people in this country who are sick and unable to get the care that they need because they cannot afford it. So at the core of this problem is the fact that big insurance companies and big pharmaceutical companies who've been profiting off the backs of sick people have had a seat at the table writing this legislation. Now, Kamala Harris just talked about Kathleen Sebelius, who helped write her bill. This just pointed to the fatal flaw in her
public
proposal.
option, Chris, which is
Sebelius
basically,
works for Medicare Advantage, private insurance company.
do you want socialized care or do you want to pay for
her
it?
Plan. If we're seeking to really reform our healthcare system, we've got to
Pay
shut
for
out
socialized
big
care that
insurance
you're
and
not
big
getting.
pharma out of the drafting process, so they cannot continue to profit off the backs of the sick people in this country who are searching and
she
in
did,
desperate
you're
need
right.
of care.
Senator Harris, your
She's,
response?
yeah, so
Well, unfortunately, Representative
Bass brings up a good point. She just stole Marianne's sick care line. She's coming off tonight as a great value generic Marianne Williamson. And I don't know why, because I don't get, that's not her shtick. What are you doing?
10 million people, as many as 10 million people
I don't. Yeah,
will not have access to health
she's like a firebrand, but she's trying to come off like Zen.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. She's normally like takes it to people, like how she like freaking thwacked Tim Ryan in the first set of debates, and now it's, well, you know, we just gotta get along, guys, and be patriotic. Like that's I think she's failing.
Breakthroughs we have with the whole, dealing with the whole immune system. And what we have to do now.
Did he
is
just
we
try to
have
explain
have a form
biopharma?
that sits in the HHS and says, as you develop a drug, you got to come to us and decide what you can sell it for. We will
What's that?
set the price. And
He's not
secondly,
coming off as
it says
dynamic
that
even
you
a little
cannot
bit.
raise
No,
that
but
price.
I don't think he's trying to. He's coming off as Obama's vice president. If he gets the nomination, it will demonstrate that these debates mean absolutely nothing in terms of who people pick. Would you agree with that?
Unlike others on
Yeah.
this stage,
I mean, it's just all for
clear where
ratings.
I've been for a decade through
Yeah, it's for ratings and drama.
We should finish the job.
Although we thought he did a lot better than everyone else did in the first set of debates, but he's coming off as a bit off tonight.
Yeah, Chris Reynolds says that Kamala was programmed incorrectly today. I feel like Biden forgot to charge. This guy, well, give him an hour, he'll be drunk again. And Kamala, they missed like a 1 when inserting her code.
Yeah, she was definitely, something's off. Everyone's kind of off tonight.
Yeah,
Did Andrew Yang go home, by the way? Are we not, we're going to pretend Andrew Yang doesn't exist? He's getting it worse than Marianne. We already heard from Marianne at least once at this point last night, didn't we?
I don't think so.
No?
No, it would have been close.
Maybe.
Secretary Castro, I want to bring you in. Your response. I'll come to you right after Secretary Castro. Secretary Castro.
Well, I know that this is something very personal for all Americans. You know, I grew up with a grandmother that had diabetes, and I watched as her condition got worse and worse. That whole time, she had Medicare. I want to strengthen Medicare for the people who are on it and then expand it to anybody who wants it. I also believe, though, that if somebody has a private health insurance plan that is strong, that they want to hold on to, that they should be able to do that. What I don't believe is that the profit motive of big pharma or big insurance companies should ever determine in our great nation whether somebody gets health care or not.
Thank you, Secretary Castro.
Big pharma and big insurance exist because of government regulations. So
Health insurance, is that true?
So I don't know why I think that adding more regulations is going to end it.
is going to somehow make... So the reason that rent-seeking lobbyists in general are able to rob you is because instead of having to provide you with value, they can just cut line and go to the lawmakers and, ask for regulations and subsidies and taxes that make things more profitable for them and protect them. So if you centralize the power even more, that just makes it even more so that they don't have to provide you with value. They just have to go to the people controlling the monopoly of government and demanding, rent seeking.
My friend as well, but I have to say, if we can't admit if we can't admit tonight what's in the plan, which is banning employer-based insurance, we're not going to be able to admit that when Donald Trump is accusing Democrats of doing that as well. We need to be honest about what's in this plan. It bans employer-based insurance and taxes the middle class to the tune of $30 trillion. Do you know how much that is? That is 70% of what the government will collect in taxes over the next 10 years.
More yang.
We don't need to do that.
Governor,
we can have
I'm going to come to you in a second, but I do want to
universal health care in this country.
I do want to bring in Senator Harris because he just suggested you were not being honest.
We cannot keep with the Republican talking points on this.
Personal injury attorney Chris Reynolds just said, "I see Kamala doing terribly tonight, and CNN declaring her the winner." And that's probably true, right?
Yeah, no, that's only because she's going to get the most amount of time.
The most time, right?
She's going to get the most amount of time, which is going to give her the most.